Hey, this is Steve. I want to talk to you today about power of forgiveness as a secret weapon in becoming a successful entrepreneur. You know, um, I see people trying to be successful and they're just striving and they're pointing fingers and they're being angry and they're like, it's a lot of this. It's like, because I think that's what it takes to move forward, right? And I want to give you a different perspective to think about. There's really two different ways you can go through life. You go through life in force or in power. And I'll give you a bit of an example of that. Um, if you look right here at David Hawkins' map of consciousness, this details the two different ways you can go through life. Okay. So on the bottom, you have force, and on the top, you have power. Okay. And the map kind of quantifies different things, but I'll just explain it this way. When you're in force, um, you push on life and life pushes back. Things done. But it requires a lot of energy. There seems to be a lot of collateral damage. And understand this as you operate in force, your value and your identity are dependent on three core things: your personal performance, and or how people treat you, and or how institutions honor you. And none of those three things are ever very solid or reliable. So your value and your identity is always kind of for grabs. That's very stressful. Or you can operate on the top of the map of consciousness and power. And when you operate in power, your value and your identity are much more connected to divine unconditional love finding you, which doesn't change. So it'll be the same this morning as is tonight. And nothing and no one, including your own performance or any institution or any person, can take that away from you, right? So there's a lot more keys. And in that, you can be much more wholehearted. Okay. And being wholehearted means I'm just going to go for it. Um, and newsflash, you're still going to fail regularly. And failure still hurts, but it can't put guilt and shame on you anymore. And so one of I do a lot of work with this for myself, for clients on what really piss people. Okay. And if you can operate in a higher level of consciousness, you become tremendously more effective relative to other people's effort. So for the same effort, you get a lot more return on the investment. Okay. You could describe it as flow. Okay. A flow state. A lot of people are talking about this. I personally would also describe it as burning God's kingdom or God's way of doing and being, which is abundant and flows. And over the years of experimenting this on myself, on clients, quantifying it using muscle testing, different things like that, one thing I've found is a very subtle way to describe it is when it's when you start doing a lot of this, like this person or this company or that thing they did or didn't do, or you should have done this or I should have done that, or all this currency of guilt and shame and blame um, pulls you down dramatically. Okay, so you can't flow in abundance and power when you're spending time signing guilt and shame and blame and judgments all over the place. And so to be clear, um, when someone or something's performance or lack thereof changes their value, okay, then we're operating in judgment, guilt, and shame and blame. So we're not talking about not having high standards. Okay. The difference is the difference between condemnation and conviction. Condemnation says because of what you have or haven't done, you're worth less and aren't as good. Okay. Conviction says your current performance is not really in alignment with your true potential and ability. Let's rise up, right? So a one of the qualities of a high level leader is they will pull people up to their best version of themselves, always speaking a new identity into people, getting them to believe in themselves, that they're actually are different, are a person with high potential. Okay. So one of the things that I'm going to make available that I've recently been working on is just kind of very simple list of affirmations. Now, these particular affirmations I are a little bit customized for someone who's network marketing because this business um, has its own set of issues and challenges to overcome. Why? Because you've got to work through some very specific things. You've got to work through the fact that you're now an entrepreneur. You're not just in business by yourself, you're in business with other people, you're building a team. So, in the first part, it's like as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of dependence on you following through and doing things. Okay. And often we're very aware that we're not doing what we should be doing. Okay. And we go like this. And you have a team of people. You're recruiting people. They have potential. They can do some things, but sometimes they don't. You're like, I can't believe they quit, or they got frustrated, or they're complaining all the time, right? And then you have the company, right? It's their fault. They need to get there together, and they did this, or they didn't do that, or it's like, and all of this is the same very low vibration of guilt and shame and blame. Okay, so I have a information on this that I'll share with you. And if you ask, I'm happy to also give you the PDF version of it. Let's just briefly look at it. Okay. So, um, and I have found this to be actually effective in shifting a level of consciousness, which newsflash, I've got to do myself all the time. The bigger team you have, people to deal with, the more people you deal with, the more opportunity for people to let you down, right? It never changes. Okay. So, first, really, we start with just saying, hey, look, I forgive everyone and everything, especially myself, past, present, and future. And then you have to refocus on like, okay, look, signing and holding on to judgment, blame, and shame are not necessary to keep me safe or move me forward in life. I am focused on seeking and celebrating progress and potential in myself, my circumstances, and others. By the way, doing that, especially writing it down, looking forward, writing down, celebrating wins, celebrating good things in life, this rewires your brain for happiness. And the good news is, a happy brain will perform everybody else 20 to 30% better. Excellent book on this is The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker, right? So next thing we do is like, look, I forgive myself for wasting time. If you ever waste time, you get doom scrolling, you're not following through, you all of a sudden the whole day has gone by and you're like, I haven't even time. I forgive for myself for all the meaningful things I could have done but didn't, for the opportunities I had but did not act on. Forgive myself for not yet living in alignment with the unlimited potential I've been gifted. So often we're like aware of like, oh, I could, but why am I not doing it? By the way, don't ask, why am I not doing it? Say, how could I most easily connect to my full potential? When we say this, I forgive everyone and everything, past, present, or future, for being unjust, for not meeting my expectations, for abdicating their personal life. So here we are working with a team, right? So especially as a network marketing leader, I'm reliant on people who come in to stepping into their potential. And newsflash, most of the time they don't do that. What an interesting thing to resolve. Most of the time, people don't. Sometimes people do, and sometimes the people who do make up for all the other people. But man, it's a bit of a process to go through and with that, right? Especially if you're new, you're like, oh, I signed up some people, great, and around the block, you're like, yeah, a lot of these people aren't going to do anything. Keep going, and it's okay if they don't. But there's always something you have to work through. Um, release the offense of others going into victim mode because things didn't go initially as they wanted. People, this happens, they're like, oh, I quit. Like you're like, gosh, people aren't very tough skinned. That's why if you are and you can develop leadership skills, you can compete really well. Right. I let go of any offense caused by the challenges and setbacks created by others, just in general. I acknowledge that none of these had the power to make my life difficult or disconnect me from a beautiful future. Instead, I allow all of these circumstances to make me better and stronger. And then we go on and have a specific affirmation starting at level 150 on the map of consciousness. Um, just going through getting dissatisfied with things, um, deciding that this is not what you deserve, having courage to move forward, um, trusting in the process that it's going to work out, right? Um, being optimistic, being clear about what you want to create, uh, forgiving everyone and everything. And as you do, you rise above, right? Um, being comfortable with the abstract process. That's important. And 500's level of love is also a level of manifestation, just being really in love with the vision of seeing it and feeling it already. And then being at blissful peace as everything flows in your life. Anyways, that's helpful for you. Um, in many of these places, I'll post this PDF affirmation there. But if you want the secret sauce to being successful, especially in network marketing, it's like, man, constantly upgrade your this to celebrating people and life and progress and looking for all the potential and looking for the progress that you've made, that other people have made, that the company's made. And in doing so, life will be much easier for you.